Hello, hello. I have a cat hair or something in my, I see a hair there. It's like white. Hello. If you're just hopping on, tell me who you are, where you're from. Aw, Kenneth, thank you for the badge. I appreciate that so much. And the likes. I don't see any likes, but the other night they were really faint, so maybe they're there. If you're just hopping on, tell me who you are, where you're from. If you're not familiar, my name is Renee. I'm from South Dakota. Welcome. Welcome, welcome. I'm so glad to be back, guys. Last Sunday I was on grandma duty. Frank, welcome back. Joel, hey dude, welcome back. So I was on grandma duty last Sunday, and then the rest of the week until Thursday, I just was exhausted and I was working through some stuff. So if you missed my brief live on Thursday, that's what I talked about. So yeah, if you're just hopping on, tell me who you are, where you're from. I'm excited to be back. I miss you guys. I forgot to grab my glass out of the kitchen, so I'm getting the can tonight. I'd much rather drink it with my straw, but I forgot it in the kitchen. I didn't want to run after it. If you're just hopping, I'd rather drink it with my straw, but I forgot it in the kitchen. I didn't want to run after it. If you're just hopping on, I put my lotion on because I don't slow down any other time to do it except for my live. Is that terrible? Let a few more people hop on here and then we'll get going. We got a good topic for tonight. My guide she gave me the start of it last week, and then I was just too exhausted to do it. And then this morning she's like, okay, this is what we're going to talk about. So I'm all excited. It's a really good topic. So if you're just hopping on, tell me who you are, where you're from. If you're not familiar, my name is Renee. I'm from South Dakota. Welcome. And tonight we're going to talk about setbacks and comparisons. So I'm excited. Nobody wants to talk to me tonight? Nobody? We're not shy here. See if I can get the lid on. Hi from Florida. How's it going? It's going great. Today was my day off. Thank you for the badge. Do you have a name and where you're, you said you're from Florida. Sorry. Do you have a name? That's what I meant to say. And then chat starts to go so crazy. But I'm doing well. Thank you. Sorry. Mark. Welcome, Mark. You look like you're new here. Glad to have you. Howdy, howdy. What's your name, howdy, howdy, and where are you from? Your shade doesn't made. What? Okay. Yes. Okay. All right, guys. Well, we're just going to let a few more people hop on, and then we'll get started. Chuck from Texas, welcome. Joey, thank you for the follow. I appreciate that. Veronica, hi from North Carolina. Welcome. Glad to have you here. If you're all not familiar, my name is Renee. I'm from South Dakota. That'd be my cat. He got shut out because he ran out when I shut the door, and it's like, you either come back in or you're stuck out. So I guess he's stuck out. He's not a happy cat, but he'd be doing that whether he was in here or out anyway. So how's everybody's Sunday night? Today is my only day off during the week, so it was a really good day. It was kind of rainy and cool here, so I just kind of chilled and worked on some business today. I'm excited. If you're just hopping on, tell me who you are, where you're from. I'm going to move this down just a little bit, guys. I just feel like that light glares in my glasses there. It's not such a glare. It was good, even though you had to work. Well, I worked all day yesterday, and I have to work tomorrow. So, like I said, today's the only day that I get, so I understand. My son is in Rapid City. Oh, well, that's cool. Awesome. How old is your son? Do you mind me asking? Marianne from Washington. Where at in Washington, Marianne? Welcome. DJ, thank you for the badge. I appreciate that. Yep, I have to work tomorrow as well. Yeah, so do I. It starts my week all over again. We just start all over. Yay. Tenino? I'm not sure I know where that's at. Interesting. What part of Washington? Thank you for the badge. I appreciate that also. That doesn't sound familiar to me. If you're just hopping on, tell us who you are, where you're from. My name is Renee. I'm from South Dakota. Welcome, welcome. Okay, guys, well, it's been a few minutes, so I'm just going to kind of let people hop on, and I'm going to get started. If you're new here, like I said, my name is Renee. I'm from South Dakota. Welcome. I started my TikTok journey. It's been a little over a year now. I started it in March of last year. The reason I started my journey on TikTok is because south of Olympia, oh, okay. Well, I've probably been right by there then. I've been in that whole area. So I started my TikTok journey because on September 14th of 2023, for TikTok purposes, my husband unalived himself. And that's when I discovered that I have abilities to talk to my guides, and they slowly breadcrumb me to my purpose, which is to be here with all of you lovely people. And so my goal and my purpose in life now is to help others through their loss, their traumas, and to help other people heal. So tonight we're going to talk about setbacks and comparisons. If you're not familiar, normally when I go live, a lot of times we chat, but most of the time I have a topic or a subject, and I get that from my guide, and she tells me what to talk about. Sometimes she just gives me a topic and says, go on, and I have to figure it out on my own. So if you're just hopping on, tell us who you are, where you're from. Like I said, if you're not familiar, my name is Renee. I'm from South Dakota. I always say that I am on my journey of life where I am and you are where you are, and none of us are going to agree on everything. So we just agree to disagree here. And if you can't do that, I just ask that you hop off and keep scrolling. I only have two rules. One is that I just ask you always be kind. And the second one is we talk absolutely no politics here. There's a million other pages there for that. It's not against one side or the other. It's just not at all what my page is about. Yes, absolutely. Awesome. All right, guys, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. So like I said, we're going to start with comparisons, right? And if you're not familiar with my page, I am the guinea pig of the page, right? So whatever I'm teaching you is usually a lesson for me as well. My guides like to use me as a guinea pig to help others, and that's fine. I'm more than welcome, or I'm more than happy. Sorry, I can never talk, by the way. And also, we're not shy, so pipe in anytime. More than happy to put my life out there if it's going to help somebody else. That's just my goal. So tonight we're going to talk about comparison or comparing. And my guide said, I want you to look up the definition and give it to them. And there's a reason why she had me do this. Comparison or comparing is the act of evaluating two or more things by determining the relevant comparable characteristics of each thing and then determining which ones are different. So did you spot the key word in that sentence, my guide said? And she said the word different, right? So when you're comparing two things, right, the whole difference is that you're different, right? And so that's what we're going to talk about tonight. So different. And then she said, I want you to look up the definition of different. Not the same as another or each other. Unlike in nature or quality. So why would you compare yourself to anyone? She said. So if you're just hopping on, tell me who you are, where you're from. And then she said, we all have our own qualities and personalities and characteristics, right? And so we were all divinely made with our own personalities, our own characteristics, our own looks, our own everything, right? And so we're going against how we were made if we compare ourselves to someone else, right? Because they were made with their own personality, characteristics, and traits for a reason, right? So if we're comparing ourselves to others, then we're really defeating what we were put here to be, right? Thank you for the badge. I appreciate that so much. Thank you for the hearts. Thank you. I appreciate that. So if you're just hopping on, tell us who you are, where you're from. And so what are some differences, right? Some of the differences maybe are our height, our hair color, our eye color, our weight, our skin tone, our intelligence, creativity, reliability, confidence, and last but not least, and I always stress this one to my kids growing up, is integrity, right? I have always said to my kids, they can take, hi everyone, Neely from Nashville. Did I say that right? Sorry, I hope I didn't slaughter it. Welcome, glad to have you here. Thank you for the badge too, I appreciate that. And so I always told my kids, you know, the world can take everything away from you, which I did experience if you're new to my story after I lost my husband. 32 years of my entire world crumbled and imploded basically at the loss of my husband. And so, you know, the one thing that I always tell my kids is integrity is the one thing they can't take away from you, right? So as long as you have your integrity, they can't take that away. Nay Lee. Okay, so I hope I didn't say that too terrible bad. Jess, thank you for the badge. I appreciate that. Yeah, if you guys can keep tapping that screen, I can barely see them. I don't know why they're so light now, but I would really appreciate it. It does really help me. Orange City, Florida. Hi. Yes, you never did tell me that. I'm so sorry. And I'm sorry. I've been horrible about getting back to people, Veronica. I really do apologize. Last week was just a crazy week for me. Crazier than most. Thank you for the badge. I appreciate that. And so if you're comparing yourself to somebody else over here, do you think you were a mistake? Right? I appreciate your energy. You're absolutely amazing. Aw, thank you. I appreciate that so much. Thank you for the badge. And so I love this question because when my kids were little, I used to always tell them when they would get down on themselves, I would say, God doesn't make junk, right? And so I don't think there was any mistakes, right? You were made who you were made for a reason and for a purpose, right? And so a lot of people like to use the term comparison is a thief of joy. And I agree 100% because if you're comparing yourself to somebody else, you're stealing your joy because you're so busy wanting to live like and be like somebody else. You're not being who you truly are and you're not being true to yourself, which cannot be a happy place to be. That's just my opinion. So if you're just hopping on, tell me who you are, where you're from. If you're not familiar, my name is Renee and I'm from South Dakota. Welcome. Glad to have you here. Tonight we're talking about setbacks and comparisons. So the next thing my guide said is talk about all of these things prove, like I said, you were divinely made, right? How you look, your personality, your characteristics, all of those things are for a reason. My dog got the door open. So you're going to hear my daughter and my grandson, they just came back. I just hate that I was made not smart education-wise. See, no, Veronica. No, that is not true. That is not true at all. You have your own gifts and talents, right? For one, what I know for sure is you have to stop telling yourself that you're not smart. You're telling yourself you're not smart. And what people don't understand is when what you tell yourself is what you bring out, right? So whatever you put into the universe, you get back. So if you tell the universe you're not smart or you're broke or whatever, that's what the universe sends you, right? And so you have to start telling yourself that you are smart because I know you're smart. I do know that from our conversations. You are very smart. Maybe you're not smart and as smart as somebody else in some of those subjects that you're trying to pass right now, but that doesn't mean you're not smart. I struggled in math, Veronica. I totally struggled. I could tell you stories, and I won't do it on here because sometimes my grandkids hop on and they don't need to know all grandma's little secrets. But in a private message, I could tell you I struggled in math, right? It wasn't my thing, right? And some subjects just aren't our thing, right? You tell yourself you are smart. You have to tell yourself you're smart, right? You tell yourself that you're beautiful and you're smart, because who else is going to tell you, right? You have to be your own cheerleader in this life. If you're not your own cheerleader, who's going to do it? You have the power to decide who you are and who you become. Exactly. We manifest. We are the writer of the script of our life, right? And so you just tell yourself, whether it takes affirmations all over the wall, I have affirmations all over my apartment, right? And so you just tell yourself every day when you get up and you're brushing your teeth, you tell yourself, I am smart. I am the smartest woman in the room, right? It's all about confidence. And once you build that confidence, it'll come. I guarantee it. Yes, exactly. Thank you for the badge. I appreciate that. I asked about smart. You added beautiful. Okay. Sorry. Was I not supposed to? Okay, I'm going to keep going, but like I said, we're not shy here, so pipe in anytime. You're never interrupting me. This is how my page works. You talk, I talk, it's just a conversation. So, we all go through things and we all have our own experiences to learn and grow, right? And so sometimes, Veronica, you're just going through one of those experiences where you're learning and you're growing in that part of your life, right? It won't be forever, right? And that's what you have to remind yourself, is this isn't what you're going through right now in your life isn't going to be what you're going through forever. It's just a moment in time, right? And try to treasure that moment in time the best you can, because if you have not been on my page before, my guide stresses this, and I put out videos about this all the time, is that even as stressful and challenging those moments are, it's still part of our journey, right? It's still part of our journey. So try to just, be present and go, you know what? I am smart, right? And just give yourself a little pep talk, more often. And I guarantee it would help. SD Benson, because you are beautiful. Okay, I love that. Thank you for the badge, Veronica. Not to be rude, but I didn't think you were listening to me. I didn't think you knew about me and math. Of course I was listening. I'm always listening. I'm very observant and I'm always listening. Sometimes, right now I've got a lot going on in my life. It doesn't mean that if I don't get back to you or message you right away, it doesn't mean I wasn't listening or that I didn't get your message, by the way. It's just a lot of times like I said, I work 2 jobs with my social media. It's almost 3, and life just gets crazy, but I'm always listening, and I'm a very good observer. If you're not familiar with Scorpios, we like to observe. We don't always input, but we observe. So you're so very welcome. I appreciate, or you deserve it, is what I meant to say. I can't talk tonight, or ever. If you're new here, I never can talk. Okay, so I'm just going to keep going. Like I said, you're never interrupting me. If you're just hopping on, tell me who you are, where you're from. So let's see. So we all have our own journeys, right? Like I talked about in the very beginning. We all have our own journeys. That doesn't make your journey or my journey any worse than anyone else's, right? It just makes it ours, right? And so now we're going to kind of transition from comparison to setbacks, because she wanted me to talk about these the same time. And so we all have them, right? We all have setbacks. Maybe, Veronica, you needed to take a test and it didn't go the way you wanted it to go. There's a reason for that. Like I said, it's still part of your journey, and there's a reason. And so that's what we're going to talk about right now. So this is when we start comparing, right? But what we don't always realize is that these are the things that most often catapult us forward. Yep, setbacks. I take it you've experienced a few. Zach, where are you from? If you're just hopping on, tell us who you are, where you're from. And I'm right there with you guys. If you're new to my story, my husband, for TikTok purposes, unalived himself a little over 1.5 years ago. My entire life of 32 years imploded. You're from Arkansas. Welcome. What part? Just curious. I know a little bit about Arkansas. So my entire life of 32 years imploded, right? And of course, this is why we got this topic tonight, guys, because You know, I've been having, you know, I go through what everybody else goes through, right? And so last week I was having a lot of issues, and I wouldn't say necessarily that I was comparing myself, but at the same time, no, I don't want to say that because that's a lie. Basically, right, I'm 50 years old. If you're new here, I'm 50, right? My husband imploded our whole world by the choice that he made, my whole world. And so I was struggling last week with, you know, the anger. I've been very upfront that I have a lot of anger issues still with him that I'm working through. And one of those issues is that he took my whole life from me and I didn't have a choice, right? And now here I sit at 50 and every single thing that I worked for is gone. It's all gone. Everything for the last 30 years that I worked for just disappeared, right? And so how easy is it, right, to sit here and go, well, Susie over there, she's 50 and look what she's got and look where she's at in her life, right? And now I'm over here starting at ground zero again, right? It's easy to want to compare ourselves to others. And that's when my guides are like, oh, no, Renee, that's what we're going to talk about this, right? Like I said, they used me, guys. I'm the guinea pig, you know, and I don't mind putting my life out there if it helps somebody else, right? That's the whole point of this. Mike, thank you for the badge. I appreciate that. Yep. Near Fort Smith. Okay. Yep. I know where that's at. And so that's why we're talking about setbacks and the comparison together, because I too have also experienced that the last year and a half, right? My whole life got set back, right? I have no car. Last summer, my dryer died. My vacuum died. My fan died that I was using to dry my clothes, right? One huge setback after the other, right? And it's all my guides have been trying to teach me this whole time. And this is the thing, guys, is life is just a big school. It's just a big school. And when you learn to roll with the punches and learn to go that this isn't happening to me, this is happening for me, for a reason, for me to learn something, right? And hopefully you learn something and you don't keep repeating those setbacks, right? If it's something that you have a choice, right? There again, I didn't have a choice to have my life imploded. It was made for me, right? And like I said, I'm human, and it's just as easy for me to sit here and go, wow, she's got all her stuff together, right? She's 50 and, you know, she's driving a nice car. You know, I had a nice car. All my stuff got taken away from me, you know? And then you kind of jump back into reality and go, whoa, you know, this is all happening to help me in some way, shape, or form, right? And now that my guides have led me to my purpose, I know why these setbacks are happening. Do I like it? No. Is it frustrating? All the time, right? But I've also learned in this 1.5-year journey, like I said, is that it's not happening to me. It's a matter of perspective. It's not happening to me. It's happening for me, right? And so now we're going to talk about how the setbacks. So, right? So this is when you start comparing my Chloe bear. But what we don't always realize, sorry, my cat opened the door again. But what we don't always realize is that these things are the most often is what catapult us forward, like a slingshot, right? Sometimes we have to be pulled all the way back like a slingshot, and then we're catapulted forward into our life, right? And hopefully in the meantime, we're learning something. Would you ever date again? And another topic. Yes, I've talked about that, and I'm actually in a relationship right now. I don't put that out there because my entire life is already on the internet. The most I put out there is that I am in a relationship at the moment. That's it. If it ever goes further where I think it might go, I don't know. We'll see. I'm a day-by-day girl now. Then maybe eventually I'll put more out there, but right now my entire life is out there, and that's going to stay somewhat private. But yes, I am in a relationship and I am dating at the moment. So yes, to answer your question. Thank you. Well, we're going to find out. So Okay, so like a slingshot, sometimes, like I said, we have to be pulled backwards to learn and grow. Sorry, my male cat likes to pick on my girl cat. Stop, Itty. His name is Itty Bitty, yes. Sorry, I lost my place. So we can then be thrusted forward. Sorry. He's still a kitten. She's like 11, and he hasn't been fixed, so he's just doing what boys do, if you understand what I'm saying. Okay, so slingshots are a symbol. This is something that I read that I did not know, by the way. Slingshots are a symbol of achieving remarkable results with limited resources. And one of the things online, and whether you believe in the Bible or not, it's a great parable about David and Goliath, right? He used a slingshot. That's a great parable. That would be a great example or parable right now. And, you know, in a situation where, you know, it doesn't matter who you are or what you have. If you believe in yourself, then you are capable, Veronica, of doing whatever you set your mind to, right? David was scared, but he did, you know, he stood up and did what he had to do, right? And it worked. So just a little tidbit there. So if you're just hopping on, tell us who you are, where you're from. If you're not familiar, my name is Renee. I'm from South Dakota. Welcome. So then they said, okay, so with the slingshot, they give us the momentum that we need to achieve the desired outcome, right? So sometimes we need to be pulled back in our situation, maybe learn some skills, learn what we need to learn so we can then be catapulted forward, give us that momentum. It's true with everything you just said. It's just life is so hard for me. You know what, Veronica? Life is hard for everybody. It really is, sweetie. It really is. Life, I don't think life is easy for anybody. It's how you deal with it. And like I said, it's part of your perspective, okay? Life is hard for everybody at times. You know, it's like a roller coaster, right? And that's why we used to compare my marriage, right? I was with my husband for 30 years, right? And a marriage isn't this, right? It isn't all the time. Sometimes you're up and sometimes you're down, and then you go back up and then you go back down. And that's how life is, and that's how life is for everybody. So don't just single yourself out. I promise you, life is hard for everybody at different times, right? Nobody has it easy all the time. That's not realistic, right? I actually been looking for a life coach that does pro bono. Well, good luck. I wish you luck. And so my guide kind of wanted me to share my story a little bit. I've already shared a little bit about some of my setbacks, right? Like I said, my husband and I were together for 32 years. Everything I worked for 30 years, just poof, gone, up in smoke, right? And like I said, that's when it's easy for comparison to want to sneak in, you know, and go, wow, Susie, just there again, Veronica, you know, it just doesn't work for me, but it's working out for everybody else. That's just not realistic. That's not life. Everybody goes through stuff, I promise you. Everybody. It's just sometimes they're up when you're down, and they're down when you're up, and you can't see it, right? And you're not in their life, you know, and that's the sad thing about, for the most part, about social media, right? Now for me, you're going to see my ups, you're going to see my downs, because when my guide said, you're going to get on social media and you're going to put your life out there, I said, the only way I'll do this is I'm going to be 100% authentic all the time, right? You get what you get. Like this morning, you got my reels. I didn't have any makeup on, right? My hair was frizzy. It is what it is, right? But a lot of times people don't put what's real out there, Veronica. Sometimes, you know, you might be seeing somebody on social media, oh, their life is perfect and they're never going through. Hogwash. That doesn't happen. They're just not putting it out there for you to see, right? That's just how it is, right? Most people only put out there what they want you to know and they want you to see. So just know we all go through things. It's how you handle them, right? And change your perspective, right? It's happening for you, right? Every time that something doesn't work out in your favor, that just means you're supposed to be learning something from that. That's what that means. So, okay, let's see. And so I believe, now that I know my purpose, I've been put through, or, you know, all these things have happened for me to prepare me for my next chapter in life. If you're new here, I have had visions of my future. I don't know it all, obviously. I do get visions. If you're not familiar, I talk to my guides. I am a medium, and I do get visions. I had a vision of the day that my husband passed 2.5 years prior. I actually saw my reaction, but didn't know what I was seeing, so I stuffed it in the back of my head. But I kind of know what's coming, right? And so some days, like, or even some weeks, like last week, you know, when I'm having a moment 5 times a day, right? If you're new here, I always just say, if you're going through something, it's okay to have a moment. It's okay not to be okay all the time, right? But just have a moment. Don't unpack and live there, okay? And sometimes when we get caught up in those moments, it's hard to see that perspective, right? That, you know, this is happening for me, but you really got to try. Okay, so that's pretty much all that she had for me. I ran through that pretty quickly. Real quick, I have to do my shameless plugs here, or my guides get upset with me. If you're just hopping on, tell us who you are, where you're from. If you're not familiar, my name is Renee. I'm from South Dakota. I also have a YouTube channel. You'll find all the videos that I have here over there. The only difference is that you'll see my lives get uploaded over there. So if you ever want to catch a live and you missed it, you can go over to my YouTube channel, Scorpio Medium, and you can catch those lives. I generally try to go live Sunday through Wednesday between 7 and 8 o'clock Mountain Time. Generally, I'm about 15 minutes late, 7:15-ish. I try never to go later than 7:30. Last Thursday I did, only because I hadn't been on all week. And so last minute my guides are like, you need to hop on and talk about what you're going through. And normally I'm not on Thursdays because I'm trying to reserve Thursdays. My goal is to get it worked out where I can go live on my YouTube on Thursday nights. So, because I have a lot of followers over there that aren't on TikTok. Thank you, I appreciate that. It's actually Yahshua though, and you're actually only, sorry, I've been down a million rabbit holes, and you're actually only saying hail to Zeus by saying Jesus. Just so you should know. Take it or leave it. But his name was actually Yahshua, or Yeshua. J didn't exist until like the 1600s. But anyway, just a little tidbit for you. And so if you go to my bio here or my bio over there, you can find my email address, and if you would like to channel somebody who has crossed over, you can do that there through my email. I could see that you know a lot about that. I do, actually. I've been down a lot of rabbit holes, lots and lots of years of research. Yeshua, yes. And so, but I don't talk about that here. I try not to. Sometimes I'll throw in a tidbit just because I can't help myself. But yeah, so like I said, if you miss a live and you would ever like to catch it, you could go over to my YouTube, Scorpio Medium. If you're not a subscriber, I would love it if you would subscribe. That's great. Actually, I'm not going to go into that topic with you. My Savior is Jesus, because what people believe is saved is kind of a misconstruct. So, and I'm not going to go into all that here. That's not what I talk about here. But I do believe in Yeshua. Yes, I do believe in that. But religion has brainwashed people. Most people don't understand that religion was created to control and fear. So some of what people are taught is kind of skewed, but are taught that if you question on your own, then you're going to go to a place, which was also a construct of religion. But I won't go into that anymore. Sorry, I get a little on a tangent there, but I've been down many rabbit holes and done my research. So It's about a relationship. Exactly. Thank you. That's what I was going to say. Let's put it this way. I've been in church. I did religion for 30 years. I was a Sunday school teacher. I was the head of evangelism. I did vacation Bible school. You know, I did it all, right? And I was beat up more in a church than I ever was anywhere in my entire life. And all I ever wanted was a relationship. And until I left the church, I never got that. If you go to church, I don't care. I'm not here to tell you one way or the other. Like I said, I am on my journey of life where I am, and you are where you are. I would never tell somebody what to believe or where to go or where not to go. That is completely up to you. It's your life and your journey. You and him and loving relationship. Yep. Exactly. And I have a great relationship with the Creator. I don't call it a God because most people don't realize that there were many gods. Which one are you referring to? I believe in a Creator or source or the divine. And I have a great relationship with the Creator and my whole divine team, my guides, my angels. And so, yeah. So, and actually you should research the word amen, because it doesn't mean what you've been told it means either. You're actually praising Amun-Ra by saying that. He's the one that started amen. So when you say amen, you're praising the god Amun-Ra. Just another little tidbit. Anyway, so that's pretty much all I have, guys. Does anybody have a question for me or anything that they need to talk about or add tonight? Anybody? If you're just hopping on, tell me who you are, where you're from. My name is Renee and I'm from South Dakota. Welcome. Anybody got anything else they want to talk about tonight? And we're going to wrap this up just a little bit early. Anybody? I'll be back here tomorrow night, Monday night, between 7 and 8 o'clock, usually about 7:15-ish. I'll be here. I'm not sure what we're going to talk about yet. Usually I don't get the topic until the next day from my guide. So, you sure can. You're welcome to message me. I can't guarantee I'll get back to you tonight. And I work 2 jobs, so I'll try really hard. And this kind of turns into a 3rd job also. So, but yeah, you sure can. Okay, guys, well, if nobody else has anything else that they would like to talk about, I hope y'all have a great night, what's left of it. Remember what tomorrow's really about. It's not about the barbecues and the day off. I don't get the day off, fortunately. But I hope y'all have a great night. Remember to make tomorrow great, because it is a choice. Thanks for being real and showing your faith. You're welcome. Okay, guys, well, on that note, I'm going to say until we meet again.